Here's your complete Part 1, full story, written for a YouTube audience with emotional depth, daytime setting, viewer engagement requests, and approximately 1,000 plus words. No one came to the Paralyzed CEO's birthday, then a single dad did the unthinkable. The ballroom was filled with flowers worth thousands of dollars. Crystal chandeliers sparkled under the bright afternoon sun, and a 3-tier birthday cake stood untouched in the center of the room. Yet the man sitting in the wheelchair beside it had only one thing to look at: an empty doorway. The invitations had been sent weeks ago. The city's most powerful executives had promised to come. Friends, business partners, and even relatives had confirmed their attendance. But as the clock struck 2 in the afternoon, not a single guest had arrived. Before we continue, if you believe kindness and second chances can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise for more emotional stories that touch the heart. 70-year-old Adrian Mercer had once been one of the most respected CEOs in the city. He had built a massive construction company from nothing, creating thousands of jobs and earning enormous wealth. People admired him, feared him, and competed for his attention. But 2 years earlier, a severe stroke had left him partially paralyzed. He could no longer walk, his speech had slowed, and he retired from the company he had built with his own hands. As long as Adrian was powerful, his phone never stopped ringing. The moment he lost his strength, the calls disappeared. His business partners moved on. His relatives visited less often. Even the executives who once praised him began avoiding him. On his 70th birthday, he rented the same Grand Hotel ballroom where he had celebrated his company's anniversary years before. Deep inside, he hoped someone would remember the man behind the money. Outside the hotel, under the bright afternoon sunlight, a single father named Marcus Hale was delivering food orders in his old pickup truck. Marcus was 38 years old and raising his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, alone after losing his wife several years earlier. Life had become a constant struggle. He worked multiple jobs, barely paid the rent, and often skipped meals so his daughter could have enough to eat. As Marcus parked near the hotel entrance, Sophie noticed several birthday balloons tied outside the building. Curious, she asked if they could look inside for a moment. Marcus hesitated because they had another delivery to complete, but the sadness in his daughter's eyes reminded him that she had not attended a birthday party in years. When they entered the ballroom, the silence shocked them. Hundreds of empty chairs surrounded a lonely old man sitting beside an untouched cake. The musicians had already left. The hotel staff quietly cleaned tables, trying not to make eye contact with the man in the wheelchair. Adrian looked toward the doorway with fading hope. He expected another employee coming to inform him that the event was over. Instead, he saw a tired father holding his daughter's hand. Marcus immediately understood what had happened. He knew the pain of loneliness because he had experienced it himself after losing his wife. Sophie slowly walked toward the birthday cake and smiled gently at Adrian. The old CEO forced a weak smile in return. Marcus approached the wheelchair and asked if anyone else was coming. Adrian simply lowered his eyes and shook his head. The answer carried years of disappointment and heartbreak. Without thinking about the delivery schedule, the money he might lose, or the responsibilities waiting for him, Marcus made a decision that would change all of their lives. He pulled out his phone. He called several nearby food drivers he knew personally. He contacted neighbors, parents from Sophie's school, and even workers from the local community center. He told them there was an elderly man celebrating his birthday alone and asked if anyone could spare just a few minutes. At first, only 2 people agreed. Then 4. Then 10. Within an hour, something remarkable began happening. Families arrived carrying flowers. Children entered holding handmade cards. A bakery owner brought fresh pastries. A musician brought his guitar. A retired nurse arrived with balloons. None of them knew Adrian Mercer. None of them cared about his wealth or his former position. They simply came because one single father had asked them to. Adrian sat frozen in his wheelchair as the empty ballroom slowly filled with laughter. Sophie placed a paper crown on his head while children surrounded his chair. The musician played old songs Adrian remembered from his youth. For the first time in years, the elderly man began to cry. Marcus stood quietly near the back of the room, watching the celebration he had accidentally created. He had no money to offer. He had no gifts to give. Yet his kindness had brought dozens of strangers together. As afternoon sunlight poured through the large windows, Adrian finally cut the birthday cake. Every person in the room sang for him. The sound echoed through the ballroom that had felt like a tomb only hours earlier. After the celebration ended, Adrian asked Marcus to stay behind. The old CEO revealed something painful. During his years of success, he had focused entirely on business and forgotten the importance of relationships. He had built towers, offices, and companies, but he had failed to build genuine connections. The paralysis had not destroyed his life. Loneliness had. Marcus understood. He had very little money but possessed something Adrian had spent years searching for: human connection. Over the following weeks, Marcus and Sophie began visiting Adrian regularly during the daytime. They shared meals, walked with him through the gardens, and listened to stories from his past. Adrian taught Sophie about perseverance, while Marcus helped him regain confidence. One sunny afternoon, Adrian surprised Marcus with an offer. Instead of giving him money, he asked him to manage a community center inside one of his unused buildings. The center would help struggling single parents, lonely seniors, and children in need. Marcus accepted, not because of the opportunity, but because he believed nobody should feel abandoned on their birthday again. Months later, the once empty building became a place filled with laughter and hope. Families gathered there every day. Seniors found companionship. Children discovered mentors. And Adrian finally found the purpose that success had never given him. Before this story ends, please tell us in the comments. If you saw someone spending their birthday completely alone, what would you do? On Adrian's next birthday, the same ballroom was filled beyond capacity. Hundreds of people attended, not because he was a wealthy CEO, but because he had become a friend, a mentor, and a symbol of second chances. Marcus sat beside him while Sophie placed another paper crown on his head. Adrian looked around the room and realized something extraordinary. The greatest gift in his entire life had not come from business success, wealth, or power. It came from a tired single father who simply refused to walk away. And if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share this video. Your support helps spread stories of kindness that remind people they are never truly alone. Because sometimes the person who changes your life does not arrive in a limousine. Sometimes they arrive in an old pickup truck, holding their daughter's hand, carrying nothing except kindness.